Well, Bally Ho! Welcome to something that's completely different. Right, so I have been lent a maxi scooter to review, and I'm a bit confused, to be honest. First of all, let me tell you what it is. It's the Kymco AK550. Which is a parallel twin. 550cc parallel twin underneath this thing. It's all rather impressive, really. Automatic, a CVT centrifugal clutch system. Very strange. Anyway, even got sat-nav attached to the app on my phone. It's got all the gadgets, all the gizmos. This is a 2017 model, 6 months old or so, a couple of thousand miles on the clock. So yes, you've just seen some photographs of it. That's what I tend to do in my introduction. It's a scooter. Now, I've been riding around on this for about 2 weeks now, and it's different. I'll give you that. But I'm actually impressed. I've only been riding 6 years or so, and I went in with absolutely no expectations either way, really, because I didn't grow up with, having to ride scooters, dreaming of getting onto a motorbike one day, so I never had that aspiration of motorbikes being better than scooters, and I'm sure scooters have their place, especially in the city, and for cheap motoring. So I started from scratch on this one, and it's a 550 parallel twin. Now, what's really weird is that the only reason it's a maxi scooter and not a motorbike is the bodywork, essentially, because you can now get CVT gearboxes on motorbikes, on Hondas and all that kind of stuff. And, what with the quick shifter up and down stuff on the BMWs and all that kind of stuff, it's basically clutchless stuff. This is just twist and go, whee! The only difference being, obviously, is the left lever, which is normally the clutch lever, is the rear brake. So it's a bit like a bicycle in that respect. So it's a bit weird, twisting and then using both, but... Oh, here's a little thing. I'll get to the specs later, but the brakes. The front brake is twin discs, 4-pot Brembo brakes. Same as on thrusting. Doesn't half stop well, I'll give you that. Now, you might be getting a bit of wind noise. It's this screen. The screen is unadjustable and a bit too low for me, so it's basically hitting me in the chin, which is kind of where my microphone is. So, yeah, it's a bit strange. If I open the vent at my chin, wow! Thunder, thunder, thunder. So it thunders along like that. Initial impressions were, bloody hell, this is a Donald ride. Great visibility from the wing mirrors, but they're a bit too far away, like an old 1970s Ford, where they were down the end of the bonnet, so you kind of feel like you're watching a tiny TV screen in the distance, like in the 90s when you had a little TV in your bedroom and you needed binoculars to watch sport. It's a bit like that, but the mirrors also remind you what's the make of the bike, scooter. I'm going to call it a bike, actually. Kymco, because they've got it written on there, you see. Now, just very comfortable, very easy, loads of gadgets, apart from cruise control, which is weird. ABS, traction control. I've set the sat-nav for Ivanhoe Beacon. You can take some photographs up there. You've got the arrows for the indicator, one side and the other, which I like. You've got so much information on here. I suppose I can go through some of it on the roll, but position's good. See, my foot is here, but I can also have it up there. See? So I can ride along like this. There is leg room. I have a 32-inch inside seam, so quite long legs, and I'm 6'1", which is 185 centimetres for those metricized people of you. So yeah, I'm just following the sat-nav, but I kind of know the way anyway. Front brake reservoir, rear brake reservoir. The front brake reservoir is bigger than the rear one because it's a twin disc with bigger pots, etc. Kymco, I think Kwangyang Motor Company, Taiwanese, so it's all from Taiwan. Now, they were part of Honda. They used to make parts for Honda, solely for Honda, and in 1963 was founded as their own company. They split from Honda. But you may have seen they make loads of parts: generators, batteries, alternators, motors, brakes, the whole shebang. And their current sort of headline thing is that not only are they still making parts for Hondas, but also they make the generators, the alternator, for the BMW i3. So they're bang up to date with their technology. They do tend to know what they're doing. But this is different. This is solely made by them. This one is not quite the flagship. The flagship one's coming out sort of next year. That's going to be a touring version with panniers and all sorts. Although I'm very impressed with the under-seat storage. I managed to get my overnight bag and my flight bag and my hat and trousers underneath, which is all you need for commuting, in the under-seat storage. And when I took all the stuff out, my helmet goes under there quite happily, so I don't need to carry that into work either. There's so many impressive things. Anyway, sorry, this isn't the flagship one, but it's called AK, not because it's a Kalashnikov rifle, but AK are the initials of the CEO. He's so impressed with this and so proud of this, he's put his own name on it. His name is Alan Coe, hence AK, and 550 is obviously the CC. It's actually 554.2 CC or something like that. Or it might be 550.4. There's a 0.4 in there somewhere. Parallel twin. Now, specs, hello bicyclists. Look, it's saying it's a roundabout. It's not telling me which way to go yet. It's just saying there's a roundabout. That's interesting. So it's saying the road I'm on is giving a distance to the roundabout. Does it tell me which way to go off? Oh yes, it does. Look at that. That's brilliant. I don't know if you can see that. That's pretty cool. I'll get into that later because I've put photos on it and all sorts. It's hilarious what you can do with this screen with the app. Now, you're wondering why it's in kilometres per hour on the right and in litres per 100 kilometres on the left for fuel consumption. That is because it's actually a French model. This is the press bike Kymco are giving out to people, but it's French. The English version will be in miles per hour on both sides. But you can have a speedometer in a speedometer? Yeah, it is a speedometer. But you can have a speedometer in the middle, and that is in miles per hour because you set that with your app. You can choose what settings you want. You can choose kilometers per hour. You can choose all sorts of different things with the app itself, and it's the app that shows stuff in the middle. So you sort of log in as yourself, which is quite fun. Whee! And there's just loads of poke as well. Anyway, right, I was talking about the parallel twin. It's an 8-valve, dual overhead cam system. It punches out, and I say punch because it's got a bit of a punch to it. 55 brake horsepower, yeah, just slightly less than the old Triumph Scrambler, but it hasn't got the torque. It's got 40.6 pounds per square foot of torque. So, hang on, let's get out of the sat-nav mode, so I don't need that. There's the speedo, 16 miles per hour, 67, whoopsie. It's just twist and go, it's so funny. I haven't ridden a scooter since I was probably about 11 or 12 in a mate's back garden, and it's one of those scooters with pedals on that you just razzed around, crashed into sheep, all sorts of fun stuff like that. Shouldn't say that sort of thing because the guy that's lent me this bike is Welsh and he'll get upset, but there we go. These are the dangers of scootering, running into sheep. So, doesn't have huge sort of headline specifications, but on one whole tank, which I managed to squeeze in 10 litres, it's actually a 14 or 15 litre tank, but I haven't actually managed to use it all, which is weird. Fuel gauge is here, goes to red, and I only managed to get 10 litres in, which is weird, because that, in theory, should mean there's 5 litres left, but very peculiar. I managed to do 145 miles. The light came on, the fuel gauge went to red to 134 miles. And that actually equated to 64.7 miles to the gallon, which is amazing because on that tank I was doing a bit of razzing like this. Sometimes I was pootling on the motorway in traffic 60, 65, other times doing 85 on private roads. So a mixed bag of fuel use. Or performance of use of performance, should I say, and still got 64.7, whatever I just said, 65.7, somewhere around that. I think it was 64.7 miles to the gallon. That is cheap motoring / commuting, you have to admit. Right, hello and welcome to my review of this. It's quite different, shall we say. Right, so it's a Kymco AK550 and it's got all the bits. It's impressed me. So it's got quite a lot of presence. When you're on it on the motorway, I was going past lorries and I felt quite big on it. It's good. Now let's turn the old ignition on, shall we? Goes blue. Ding. Screen goes hello. Oh, it's all flickery on the camera. Oh, that's interesting. So it's all loading up and it's loading up in the middle. See? There we go. So we've got the lights on now. So let's have a look at the lights. Do you see what I mean about presence? That looks really good. I was really surprised about how good the lights were. Now, will main beam work without the engine running? That's going to be... yeah, it does look good. So, I'm really impressed with those. Let's go with Ellie. Let's go with the indicator. See what the indicator looks like. Nice and bright. Cool shape too. And on the back, see that? You could find on any modern motorbike. It's bloody good. Right. Mirrors are out on the front here. Loads of visibility. And also, they fold flat or pull out the way as well. But they're very good whiskers for filtering because they are just that's about straight, just the widest part of the bike. So they are good whiskers for filtering, and it does filter very nicely, very stable. But so the lights are great, the indicators are great, and here we go. So we've got twin discs on the front with a 4-pot Brembo caliper on a scooter. It's liquid cooled. I don't think I mentioned that. It's a liquid cooled engine, so it's well, obviously, I've already mentioned how good the fuel consumption is, but it is a scooter. Look, it's a super touring, apparently, but there's going to be a bigger one in the next few months or so. And we've got pillion pegs here. I think for me, it just doesn't... You can't see the engine. I'd like to see the engine. Anyway, so there's the rear brake caliper and rear brake. It's got a centre stand as standard. Rear brake's really good, actually, and there's the cable for the handbrake, which is hilarious. I don't know, would you put a tail tidy on and bring that number plate in a bit? Probably. Loads of grab rail for luggage and for pillions and etc, etc. Fascinating thing, really, is this little lumbar support here. I've got it as far back as it goes, but it moves. You can bring it forward with a clip underneath the seat. I'll show you that in a minute. So depending on your size and leg length, you can move it, shift it forwards, you see. I don't know what to say. Loads of gadgets. It's even got hazard lights. Not sure it's needed. I don't know yet. But it's done very well. It's done all this mileage without any issues. So centre stand's piss easy. It's got, a bit like the Kawasaki's, it's got this rear shock, single rear shock to the side. And you can adjust the preload, allegedly. What do you want to know from a scooter? Is it stable at high speeds? Yes, it is. It goes triple figures quite happily on private roads. It's black, it's cool. The finish, it's solid. I mean, and the seat. The seat's got loads of support. The suspension is firm. We'll do the bumpy road in a minute. The suspension is firm, but it's not uncomfortable at all. It doesn't sort of crash and bang. It's well dampened. I think the front forks are non-adjustable. God knows how you would. Oh, little cubby holes. We got a little cubby hole in there, and they're not locking, but a little cubby hole in there with a tool roll and a socket at the back for charging shit in it. So here's the AK bit. Alan Coe, he's the CEO. So proud of it, he puts his name on it. Kymco. Now, the company itself, they outsold Piaggio in Italy. And they're third in Spain, behind Honda and Yamaha. We'll talk about Yamaha because I don't know much about these. Oh, it's belt drive. There we go. Not sure if it's inlaid with tungsten like the belt drive on the Thunderbird, the Triumph Thunderbird, but yeah, I mean, I like it. The fact that I was cruising along for an hour and 10 minutes on the motorway and dual carriageway, doing 65 odd miles to the gallon, getting to work on time, chilled out, lots of bit of filtering as well, and it hassle free. It just needs cruise control really, but apparently that's going to be on the next one. So yeah, it's all very groovy. Switch gear, obviously that's the flash. Mode, now that is, it does have a rain mode or a road mode, and it's literally just a change in the throttle response. That's all that is there. Heated grips, you hold that down, and what happens over here is that comes up there, see, that bit there. It's not flashing in real life, it just is, and then you just press it once or twice to do that. They are very good, but it's so hot I only just made sure it worked. Yeah, the screen doesn't flash in real life, but it is flashing on the screen. Oh, cool. Sorry, I just accidentally changed so that you can change the rating of tyre pressure. So kilopascals, kilogram feet per centimetre squared, no idea, bar, or PSI. I'll keep it in PSI. So over here, hang on, I was doing this, wasn't I? Oh yeah. And then a standard, sort of what I had on my old Thruxton indicator thingy. Dipped, main beam. That's it, that side. There's that handbrake I was telling you about. It's on at the moment. Nice Allen Co initials here. It's kind of brushed aluminium. It's probably plastic, but it feels nice. The plastics themselves are good. Nowhere for me to mount my GoPro, but yeah, it's not too bad. So this side then, front brake, rear brake. So this side, this is how you change between the two. Now, the app is called Nudu, so that's the N there, and the switch there. So that's, if you've got the switch in that mode there, that's how you change stuff on that screen, trip and all that kind of stuff. But when you want to change stuff in the middle screen, you move that switch, oh, where are we, there, to there, and then you can manipulate using the option key and up and down. You can manipulate that there. So if I press down, it goes from the speedo to the clock I set, and that is, hang on, let's get rid of reflections. That's, I suppose, one issue is the reflections. There's the clock. There's me. That is the weather, and it's attached to my phone. So the weather, my phone is telling what the weather it is. That's just a random speedo I downloaded for fun. That's the radar thingy. That's my pictures. And that's it. Now the sat-nav comes up when I've set it in the app, and obviously the sat-nav's off at the moment, so because we got here. So that's how you this side that you manipulate the screen, which normally on Triumphs and BMWs and things you have stuff on the left to manipulate the screen. Then this side you've got the engine cutout switch, and this side engine start, but also here hazard lights. So if you want the hazard lights on, you just do that. Okay. Now the engine won't start with the side stand down, but it will start on the centre stand. So we'll have a play with that. Now, there we go. That's how you open the seat. Or you either press that when it's on, or you can turn it all the way around, go through the steering lock, so you have to have the handlebars to the left, and then just turn the knob round there. So this is like a central knob, governing knob. Yes, anyway, so that is that. I've just opened the seat. Now this is the fuel tank. So if I put it here, that's, see, so that's there at the front. You can lock it, but you don't have to, and it's not locked. And I was quite surprised. It's solid metal. It's a good chunky, weighty, seems to be quality piece of kit, as things that are heavy seem to be. And in here we've got my selfie stick, tripod, and there's that light, which you can angle up or down. That's where the socket for the data, when they can change the map and all that kind of stuff. But yes, it's a sizable boot. It really, I was really shocked. Things do tend to get warm in there, not hot, but warm, so you wouldn't want to carry milk in there for too long and stuff, because of the engine, heat from the engine, but it's very useful, I think. And under here, that's it there, there, you pull that out, and then you can move that lumbar support backwards and forwards, like I said, and it clicks back in. So that's how you change that. So that's the seat. That's the fuel filler. That's the seat, that's the fuel filler. Let's put that back on, shall we? It's just turning back on. I haven't left the main beam on or anything, have I? No, and the hazard lights aren't. That's that. I can't believe I've talked for 11.5 minutes about it. And I bet you can't either. Front forks are 41mm upside down forks as well, that's the front bit. Yeah, I don't know what to think about it really, because it's a motorbike. Specifications, it's a motorbike, a good motorbike, and yet it doesn't look like one. It handles like one. We'll do some twisties in a minute. Handles very nicely. So with regards to the competition, the one that it's really pitting up against is the Yamaha. This is £9,000, by the way, so you could get a new street scrambler for it. But without that practicality of that, that boot is just really cool. And of course, if you didn't pass your manual motorbike test, I think is that where they're aiming? Because it's no better than a motorbike filtering really, because it's too big. But yeah, maybe that's where they're going with it. For people that can only ride an automatic. But yeah, £9,000. It's over £1,000 cheaper than the competition, and I can't fault it. Seems to be good. It's wearing well. It's done, so it's 6 months old, and it's done, what was that, 2,800 miles. There's just a bit of corrosion showing on the exhaust pipe. That's all I found. But you can put an acro pipe, an Akrapovic or Akrapovic pipe on it if you want to. That's all I can do about show you the bike. Let's get riding. Bye! So, here we are. It's just the burble, and then a bit of revving. It just sounds like a motorbike rather than a scooter. Anyway, there you are, a bit of revving. Looking at it doesn't set my heart on fire. I don't know what it is. I'm not prejudiced. I don't have a thing against scooters, because from my point of view, this is why I'm confused. It's a motorbike, essentially. Apart from the fact it's an automatic, you can get automatic motorbikes. It's a 550cc parallel twin. It just happens to be hidden under there. Don't understand it. Very peculiar. There's even a light inside the boot, I'm going to call it the boot, under seat storage. So at night time you do that. It's got so many bits and bobs. Very, very, very impressed with it all. LED lighting. I mean, it could do with one major criticism, no cruise control. It's got all these gadgets, and look, I've got the map there. There's a clock. I changed that clock. You can change the font. You can redesign the clock if you want to have it whichever way you want. You can have it digital or anything else. There's my logo with the weather. Clear skies and 18 degrees currently. I think it's a bit hotter than that, but there we go. That's coming through the app. That's using the weather app in my phone, connecting to that, and that's the weather page. That's a funny little dial I just downloaded off the app, and it's sort of a BMW M dial. It's not brilliant. It was designed by somebody. Here's a radar thingy, which is quite cool. It shows you where the local petrol stations are and Kymco dealerships and other things you might want, like home and stuff. And there's pictures. I've downloaded some pictures. There's a Vulcan, and you can just have your picture. I've got 6 on there. You can have more if you want to. And it just, there we go, there's Thrusty. There's a picture of Thrusty, can you see that? And it just, you can just have that coming up. It's quite fun. And then back to the Speedo. So you've got weather, GPS, a radar, pictures, different Speedo, another Speedo that you can configure. And this one's obviously in miles an hour, and I've done that. You can change the title of the clock and the font and all that kind of jazz. So that's the middle. On the right, we've got engine temperature. Speed in kilometers per hour, because it's French, there we go. Fuel gauge, yeah, I think it's accurate, because I did 140 miles when the red light came on, but I only managed to get 10 litres in, so it's very peculiar. Right, twist and go, here we go. Look at that. See, it does want to pick up. Look at that, hey. It takes a while, but it's not for that. Weight-wise, it's 224 kilograms weight, so fully done. Let's call it 220 because tank's not full. Similar specs then to a Triumph Scrambler. That's about 220, 225 kilograms weight. And it's just so easy to ride. On the left, you've got tyre pressures. There's a good tyre pressure monitoring system, which is useful. The indicators aren't self-cancelling. It's got heated grips, for goodness sake. And yet it hasn't got cruise control. Quite peculiar. The suspension's good. Nice and firm yet controlled. And you can tip it into all sorts of corners. It's wonderful fun. Anyway, on the left you've got trip A, trip B, odometer, oil. Oil service is in 1,393 miles. The belt has done, is it done or got to go? Has done 1,014 kilometres. The odometer is done 4,230 kilometres. Back to trip A and trip B. And then you've got average fuel consumption in litres per 100 kilometres, but if it was a British bike it wouldn't be, it would be in miles to the gallon. And you've got, it's got average fuel consumption, it's got instantaneous fuel consumption, and then it's got the tyre pressures there. Voltage, the volt of the battery, which is called 14.2 volts. There's this main centre dial that turns it on and off. If you want to go to fuel, you turn it round to there, and if you want to go steering lock, you push it in and go round there, and then you open the seat by pressing that. It's just so easy. Oh, it's even got a handbrake. Look, watch this. Da 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 da. Dunk. Rear brake. It's a handbrake. See? Dunk. Oh, we're rolling. Dink. Now that's quite subtle. So if someone tries to run off with it wheeling off, and they haven't seen that, not a bad little security device, and it does also stabilise when you're sitting still for a bit as well. But not a bad little security device, because a lot of people might not know about that. Huzzah! Right. So yeah, handbrake's on, engine's running. I didn't bother with the side stand because the engine would have stopped, or the centre stand. But I just got off, opened the seat, put my camera stuff back, put the seat back, sitting back on. Handbrake off, indicators, twist. There we go. It's so easy to ride. It's really got me confused. If you want, well, £9,000 isn't cheap, but if you want actual cheap commuting, getting from A to B, yeah, you could get a 125 or a 250cc. But what I've noticed, and we'll do a bit of dual carriageway work in a minute, is that it's got loads of punch for overtaking, and you're cruising along at say 75, and if someone pulls out in front of you, you can just razz past them, floor it, and get round them. Braking is effortless, 2-finger braking on both, here and here. But that's what you wouldn't get with a smaller CC engine, but you would get the fuel consumption, and of course it's cheaper as well. Most 250s are around sort of 4,000, 5,000 pounds, aren't they? So, but that's new. So who is this aimed at? I can't work it out. Can't work it out if it's for me. I mean, it's not for me, don't worry. Nobody panic. I'm not getting one. Because yeah, the looks just, it's not because it's a scooter. I don't think I'm prejudiced. I don't think it's because it's a scooter. The looks, I mean, it's all black. It looks cool. I like the dash. I like the fact that it looks a bit like a Honda Civic, and the fact you've got all of that variability, capability of the gadgets, with still no cruise control. It's very impressive. It's good fun to ride too. It's very comfortable, fun, easy. That's why I'm conflicted. I wasn't expecting much, but it is good fun. Look at that. The pickup there was really good fun. Considering it's only got 40.4, something like that, torque. The specifications aren't going to set your world on fire. But for cheap commuting, comfortable commuting, I'm sure it's comfortable on the back as well. What's not to like apart from possibly the way it looks? Look at that. It goes well enough. Now you might be able to hear the wind now because it's coming off, hitting my chin. But let's go around these corners about as fast as I would normally. And you can also throw your weight about to make it go upright. So lean wise, I've been leaning it right over. There are no pegs to scrape. It's just sort of floor tray, and that's all angled underneath, so it doesn't get anywhere close to scraping down or anything. So we're doing, what, 55 now. Here we go. Twist, indicate, 70, 80. It gets there. No fuss, no drama. Really quite simple to operate, simple to ride. And I'm just flicking around these corners without even thinking about it. Tips in nicely. And as I've already said, the braking is phenomenal. It's certainly not what you would expect from a bike like this. Oh, getting a bit fast. Yeah, that's why I don't know what to say. Hallelujah! Go. 20, 30, 40, 50. See, it's fast enough, isn't it? So here we go. This is the sort of speed I do these corners at normally. And it's just sweeping in. All I'm having to do body-wise is just lean my shoulders a bit. Here we go. Look at this. Now, I'm not being a hooligan. I'm really not. This is how I would normally ride this section. And it's effortless. This is why I'm shocked. It does that fuel consumption, belt driven, so you don't have to keep lubing the chain. Most belt drives are on bigger engines, therefore you haven't got the corresponding fuel consumption. So for practicality, massive boot. If you just want to reduce your commute fuel and all that kind of stuff, I mean, yeah, for 9 grand you could get quite a nice car, but then you don't get stuck in traffic on this because you can filter. I rode in my uniform trousers the other day, no flies. It was a nice day, it wasn't going to rain, so I knew it would be okay. But you could easily just be in your work clothes with some armour in your jacket and a helmet on, obviously, and get to work unruffled, not covered in flies like this windscreen is now. Just bloody easy, just turn up, turn it on, brim, off you go. It's keyless, by the way. There's no key. It's hanging around my neck on a giant fob, quite big fob. Can't lose it. But yeah, I'm just having a doddle on it, really. In summary, it's a maxi scooter. It's one of the top of the range ones by Kymco. Full LED system. centre stand, side stand, belt drive, so you get the practicalities of that. Doesn't squeak. I've had a belt drive before and it squeaked from time to time. And this has been run in, so it's not as if it's new. It's flickable. And that was through bumps, little bumps. You can't, you know, very comfortable, very practical mode of transport. Have I given you enough information? I think so. Any other comments or queries, feel free to ask below. And I will try to certainly look up the information for you. The app thing is pretty cool. Being able to play with what's on the dial, on the dash, a inbuilt sat-nav, that's pretty cool. Anyway, Bally Ho, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this slight change in direction. It won't last, I don't think, but hope you've enjoyed it. Hope it's been useful and informative. Bally Ho, ta-ta. Captain's log, additional 1. Additional, something like that. Anyway, Captain's log, additional. So who's it aimed at? I think it's probably commuters. And apparently, chatting to the chaps at Hearts Triumph, they used to do Piaggio stuff. A lot of the scooters and larger scooters went to commuters who were commuting to the outer skirts of London. So they didn't need a tiny scooter to mess with serious traffic, but they did need the practicality and fuel consumption of a scooter. The stability of this is surprising. It's not light, scary. You go around corners like this. I'm going around corners, over bumps and everything like that with full confidence. No issues whatsoever. I'm just really impressed. Filtering, filtering, filtering along. Filtering, filtering. This is my filtering song. Yes, it is. Rather. So here we go, up a little bit of a hill, twist and go. Wow, that was rather fun, wasn't it? So we're going along at 70. There's traffic about to come past, but I want to go past the Audi. Here we go. 80, 90. I mean, it's there if you want it. So stability at higher speeds. We're at a higher speed now. When I'm going around these corners, it's perfectly stable. It doesn't feel any less planted or twitchier than a motorbike at all. It's riding these bumps very nicely. But yeah, all I can say about the suspension is it's very good. It really is. Just noticed another little feature. These little cutouts here and here make it easy to read the brake reservoir fluid level in the sight glass. That is, they did think of everything. There are some companies that would just not think of that. That's quite a nice. It shows real attention to detail. It really does. It's good. I like it. Just a little extra about Kymco itself. They do make lots of things. They make lots of scooters, ATVs, four-wheel, quad bikes, all that kind of stuff. And they're massive in Wales because of all the farmers with bales of hay on the back of quad bikes and stuff. Yeah, really, really good. And if farmers are using them and they're not falling apart and getting covered in mud and all that kind of stuff, and apparently there are very few warranty claims, but that was what the area sales manager said, so take that with a pinch of salt. If they're being bashed around by farmers, and I grew up knowing lots of farmers and playing on their farms and stuff, if they're surviving farming, then you can't really find anything to fault the quality of these things. Really. Food for thought. Bye. I feel like I've got this, not bubble, but commanding presence that people see, to be seen. It's all, yeah, it's nice to be on something large. I suppose it's like riding a big tiger or a trophy or something. You feel like you've got that presence. Similar with this, which is great if you're going to do lots of commuting, filtering, all that kind of jazz. Hazard lights obviously help with filtering as well, if you're going to go full filtering mode. Captain's log, additional, conclusion 2. Ultimately, it is a very good and capable commuting machine for £9,000. There you go. I came up with a conclusion. Huzzah! Ta-ta! Toodles!